Hello developers, hello admins. Welcome to Scaling Admin Duties with the Box CLI. I'm Scott Hurry, Director of Developer Relations here at Box, and I've gotten to chat with a lot of you, but for those that I haven't met yet, hi, nice to meet you. So what we're going to talk about today is the Box CLI, or the command line interface. And what this is, it's a powerful tool that really lets you get the power of the Box platform and all of those goodies that it comes with, but from a low effort area where you can just write simple shell scripts or even use from the terminal. We're going to have one of our talented developer advocates, Olga Stefaniuk, join us, and she's going to walk you through some knowledge building activities, and then she's going to take you through a real world exercise where you can see how to use the Box CLI and really get the power of that tool. So without further ado, let's hand you off to Olga Stefaniuk and really get to the fun part of this.
Thank you, Scott. And let's jump right into scaling admin duties with Box CLI. My name is Olga Stefaniuk, and I'm a developer advocate here at Box. And in this session, you will learn what Box CLI is, what the benefits of using it are. I'll also show you how you can quickly set up this tool and demonstrate some practical examples of scaling admin duties with with automation templates. And we'll finish that up with some additional use cases and also useful resources. So without further ado, let me explain what Box CLI is. Box CLI is a user-friendly command line tool that allows both technical and non-technical users to leverage Box API to perform routine old block actions like folder provisioning, user provisioning, metadata extraction, custom reports, and much, much more. There is no need to write any code, as these actions are executed through a set of commands. To use Box CLI, you just simply need to install it on your local machine, open a terminal, and authenticate with a set of credentials. And we will go into more depth just in a second during our demo. And what are the benefits of using Box CLI? As a Box administrator, managing a large number of users, complex folder structure, and collaborations, that can be a daunting task. But with Box CLI, you can streamline and automate that set of actions to save you a lot of time and effort. The setup process is very quick, can be just done in just a few minutes, and right away you can utilize automation templates. And also, this approach reduces the number of errors that may occur during a manual configuration. You can leverage more than 250 Box API endpoints thanks to Box CLI request command. And taking that all to account, you can bring your admin duties to the next level. And let's jump into a very quick start Box CLI setup demo. Okay, let's dive into the Box CLI configuration demo. First, let's go to the developer documentation site, which is under the developer.box.com URL. You have to be logged in or sign in for a developer account. I'm already logged in, so I'll scroll down to the guide section and find a card that says CLI Quick Start and click it. Once the page is loaded, scroll down to the bottom until you find the button that says I'm ready to get started and click it. In this step, we need to create a Box application. Choose the path that says Create a new Box app and click Create App button. Now, log in. A new window will pop up. Click Grant Access to Box. This will allow for the quick start to make an application on your behalf. A next screen will show the scopes of the application that will be created, as well as gives you the option to name the application. Okay, let's click Create App. And now the client ID and the client secret just appeared in the box below. Oh, the Box app was created. We can proceed to the next step. Now we need to install the Box CLI on your computer. You can achieve this by clicking the Download the latest CLI installer button. You'll be redirected to GitHub, where you can download the assets package. Follow the prompt to complete the installation. Alternatively, you may install it via the Node Package Manager. I have already installed the Box CLI on my computer, so we can proceed to the next step. So let's move to the terminal of your choice and type Box and hit Enter to confirm that the CLI was installed. This should return a bunch of information on usage and available commands with a short description. Now we need to connect the Box application we created in a previous step, and let's authenticate by typing box login command and hit enter. To authenticate, we need to copy the client ID from the quick start. Okay, so let's go copy the client ID, go back and paste it, hit enter, and let's do the same for the client secret. A new browser window just opened, asking you for a confirmation. Once the access is granted, we'll be able to return to the terminal. Okay, the process was successful. Let's go back to the terminal. And now let's go through some basic commands to get you familiar with that tool. So let's type box users, and the program will output all managed users for that account. Whenever you find yourself not sure how to use a particular command, just add a flag --help at the end of the command. For example, box users --help, and that will return further details, options, and examples on that particular command. Okay, so let's modify this command a bit and type box users get me. And this should return details related to the current users. Okay, that's my user. Everything is right. So what about creating a new user? You just simply type box users create and Jon Snow, that's the name and the email address, and hit enter. And we just created our first user. Cool. Analogically, we can delete a user using a command box users :delete, followed by user ID. And the deletion was successful. Another useful command is box folders :get, followed by a folder ID or a 0, which stands for a root folder. And this command should return a folder and its content for that current user. And that's just what happened. We have a list of folders and files for my current user. And what's even more awesome, if we can add a flag named -- as user and provide the user ID, the CLI will display that user's root folder. So let's type box users get. And we have a bunch of users we manage, and let's copy the ID. And now let's type a command box folders get 0, the root folder, as a user. That's the useful flag, and type or paste the ID. And that's great. We have the root folder for the user that we just picked. So this gives us a lot of possibilities, and we can perform even more operations and manage that account on behalf of that user. Once you're acquainted with some basic Box CLI commands, let's bring your admin duties to an even higher level with automation templates. You can find automation templates in your admin console. Just go to Platform in main menu and click for the Automation template tab. And currently, there are 7 tiles that represent common actions that you may perform and scale your admin duties very quickly. So among others, there are, for example, user and folder provisioning and metadata extraction. And now let's see them both in action. Okay, so I have the admin console open. Let's choose a template called metadata extraction by clicking Get Started. A new window opened with a set of details and instructions. The prerequisite for this action would be .NET Core for Windows or PowerShell for Mac installed. If you wonder what PowerShell is, it's a cross-platform task automation solution made up of a command line shell and a scripting language. If you're not sure if you have PowerShell installed on your machine, type pwsh to your terminal, hit enter, and check if the command exists. If not, follow the links from our guide and stick to the instructions on the Microsoft installation page. Secondly, we need to download the actual automation script. It can be cloned with Git. Copy the command from our guide and hit enter. If you're not using Git, I highly recommend installing it on your computer. Alternatively, you may scroll up to the top of our guide, and there is a link to the repository where you can download the whole package manually. So before that demo, I've already set up my environment. So I have already PowerShell. I already have the repository cloned. And also I've set up a metadata template and added a values, key pair values for that folder. And as we can see, there's a test1 with a value of foo and test2 with number 123. Okay, so in that in mind, we can scroll down to the guide, and there is an information that to run the script, we need to provide two parameters, which is folder ID of a folder that includes metadata and user ID or who is owning that folder. So let's go back to our terminal and initiate PowerShell. We need to be in a correct repository. So let's change our repository to metadata extraction. And you don't need to have to remember all the names of the scripts. By typing ls, which is a built-in command, it lists all the files included in that repository. So we have the metadata extractions ps1 file. And let's run the script from that file included in that file, providing the parameters, which is folder ID and the user ID. And let's hit enter. And as you can see, a new CSV file was created. You may view it directly in the terminal with a command like cat. And it returned a bunch of information, including, for example, metadata template with values, test2, test1 with also matching 1, 2, 3, and foo. If you open that with Microsoft Excel, it will look more formatted. This is like a very raw output from the terminal. So congratulations, we managed to use our first automation template. And let's go to a second example I would like to cover, which is user provisioning and folder provisioning. I chose that example because adding and updating user information in Box is one of the most time-consuming tasks for administrators. So in this example, we'll automatically create Box users for new hired employees and create their folder structure. So let's choose the first automation template, provision users and folder, and click Get Started. Again, we got a lot of information and details. So let's scroll down to the Configure the Script settings. So before we run the script, we need to provide 3 key parameters. Firstly, we need to provide the employee list we want to create. Secondly, we need to define a folder structure for those users. And thirdly, also provide a folder ID that we want to leave this content in. So it's a good practice to create a parent folder like that for all the users to live in that folder. So it helps to keep the folder structure organized. Okay, so my recommendation is also downloading the some kind of code editor, for example, Visual Studio Code, and open our Box CLI repository. It's because in here we have the user and creation provisioning folder, and it includes a pre-configured employees CSV file. So as an administrator, you can go here directly and change the values accordingly to your needs. So fill the first name, last name, email, and username, and save the file. And what I'd like to mention is that all emails have to be unique across all Box, and usernames have to be unique across your Box instance. Otherwise, the script will return an error. So once you're ready with your data, we need to move to the file called folder structure JSON. So JSON is a language-independent data format. In this example, there's a folder structure defined with 2 folders named Market Research and Sales Plays, with some additional subfolders. So you can adjust it to your needs, and once you're ready, save the file. Okay, our employee list is ready, our folder structure is ready. If you wish to adjust a slug for a personal folder, that's the string after the username, that's how the folder would be named. you can go directly to the script file and adjust the personal Slack folder variable. So with this default setting, the folder that created for user named Rob Smith would be called R Smith personal folder. Feel free to adjust that to your needs. Okay, after that all preparation, let's go back to our console and change directory to user provisioning. And let's run the script and hit enter. And the script is asking us for a path to employee CSV file. So let's go back to our VS Code editor and right click on our CSV file and copy the path. Go back to our terminal and paste the path. Now the script is asking us for a JSON file with a folder structure. So let's do the same. Find the folder structure JSON, copy the path, paste it, and hit enter. And lastly, the script is asking us for a folder ID. Well, we would like to create those personal folders. So let's go back to our box, and I created an employees folder where I want to live. I want those folders to live in. I'll copy the ID from the URL, go back to our console, paste it, and hit enter. And now all the magic is happening. So as you can see, there are some logs about creating folders and creating users. So let's give it just a bit of time to finish the process. And almost ready. Almost ready. Yeah, the folders and users were created successfully. So let's go back to our Box application, refresh the folder. And voila, there are 3 folders created and defined, which we defined in our CSV file. Congratulations, we managed to use another automation template. So this might seem like a lot to take in, but I'm sure with our documentation and guides, you'll be able to become very, very proficient in using Box CLI in a short time. Finally, let's talk about some other possible use cases of using Box CLI. First, I'd like to mention content migration. It's an easy way to migrate content by using the deprovisioning automation template. So you can migrate files and folders from one Box account to another. Secondly, collaboration management. Thanks to Box collaboration command, you can access and manage access permissions for user groups and to files and folders. And last but not least, custom reports. It's another useful automation script that generates a CSV file with a list of users who have been inactive for a number of days. And you can customize that script with your additional parameters to suit your needs. And that's not it. As mentioned previously, Box CLI helps you to utilize more than 250 Box API endpoints. So be sure to check out other commands like, for example, signing requests, searching, or even file watermarking. Make also sure to view additional resources to view more details, step-by-step guides, and sample scripts on our developer.box.com page. I recommend also viewing Box CLI GitHub repository and API reference page. In conclusion, Box CLI is a powerful tool that you can start using today to help you automate time-consuming tasks. It provides an efficient way to manage Box accounts, content, and reduce your administrative overhead. I'm sure now you're ready to level up your admin duties with Box CLI. Thanks for your attention, and now I'm handing over to Scott.
All right, thank you, Olga. That was a fantastic presentation. I love the Box CLI. I think it's a great tool, and I love the fact that you were able to provide some guidance for folks who are looking to adopt the Box CLI. And to that end, let's talk to one of my favorite customers in the world, Brian Pace from the Nature Conservancy. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Doing well, Scott. How are you?
I am doing amazing. Yeah, I think maybe a good place to start is if you just want to introduce yourself and the Nature Conservancy and some of the great work that y'all are doing.
Sure. Thanks. So thanks for having me here. My name is Brian Paste. I'm the Director of Enterprise Platforms for the Nature Conservancy. We're a large conservation nonprofit. We have about 5,600 staff spread around 70 some odd countries around the world. We have kind of a simple mission, which is protecting the land and waters on which all life depends. So we are focused on conservation on a number of different fronts at a global scale with climate change, at a local scale with land preservation and policy and lots of places in between. So everything it takes to make sure that we have a place where as well as the people in nature can thrive together on the planet. So it's a great organization, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Now, it's very nice. I always love getting to work with you because how do you not like an organization whose goal is to literally save the planet that we live on? It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a small goal, but we try our best. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty small stuff, no big deal.
Yeah.
I appreciate working with you. I think for those that don't know, we worked together for the first time around the Hackathon for Good last year, where we were really trying to put on a developer event that developers could have some fun, but we could also maybe help somebody who needs a little bit of help in streamlining the way that they use Box. And I think that it was a very successful event. I think we got some really interesting things that come out of it. Can you tell me a little bit about how you at the Nature Conservancy are using the Box CLI?
Yeah, so the hackathon was really, really helpful for us on a couple of fronts. One, we really had not done any Box CLI stuff itself on my team. We managed the Box platform and a number of other things in the organization, but we had not done anything with it. And so it was kind of an eye opener for us to go, whoa, holy smokes, there's a lot we can do here. And so that was a really great part of it for me as a manager of a team to kind of turn my folks onto that. And we took the solution given to us through the hackathon, and we've since gone on and iterated on it a couple of times now. I had one staff person who said, I don't feel like I could do more. He literally came to me and said, I think I can do more. And I said, well, I got this thing you could do. Go see if you can make this better. And he did. He went off and he did it. And Eduardo Chapa down in Mexico City, he's a great guy, and he did the work. We took that solution and we've scaled it now and deployed it, and we're using it on a regular basis now to help do our account management, which doesn't sound like a really sexy thing, but we have a lot of turnover in the organization. We have a lot of
Sure.
seasonal employees, and we have a lot of data. We have a petabyte and a half in Box. There's a lot of knowledge in there. We don't want to lose that. We want to make sure that we retain it when somebody leaves. We want to make sure we stay in licensing compliance, so we're not, paying for licenses we don't need. And really making sure we keep giving Box a fair share of the services we are getting from them. So this really has fixed all that for us in a lot of ways, and in an automated way. Before, we literally were going into the UI and clicking on delete account, transfer file to so-and-so, do the thing. And we've turned all that now into a parallel processing, background jobs, monitoring queues,
Yeah.
writing log files, automated process that now that basically takes this stuff and says, okay, these are the people who left the organization in the past month, go process their Box accounts. And it deals with the large account sizes and the background processes and goes through and takes care of all that for us now. And really, really fixed what was a pretty significant pain point for us from an administrative standpoint. So it's fantastic. It was a great outcome. It took us a while to get there. We had to kind of iterate some things, but we learned. And that's really what I loved about that whole process for us was we got not only a useful tool, but we got learning on my team, and folks got really to explore this. And I was on a call yesterday actually with one of our California chapter. We were talking about some other stuff, and I said, "Oh, wait a minute! Like, I think we could script that for you in Box. Like, we can do that kind of stuff now. Like, we know how to do that now. So it's opened up a lot of new opportunities for us. Just the simple CLI stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Just from orders of scale, I remember we were talking about in some months, you can have as many as 5,000 people that have to offboard of Box because their season's over. And if I think about clicking through the UI for 10 people, that seems like a lot. If I had to do it for 5,000 people, I feel like that's all I would be doing my entire life. So
Yeah, it's probably more like several hundred, but still, it's yeah, literally, we get a season. We have seasonal fire crews, for instance, that work across the organization. That's
sure.
hundreds of people, and they're here for 3 months, and so they get onboarded. Our onboarding is automatic. We have just-in-time provisionings that we don't have to create accounts.
Yeah.
And when they leave, we do have to offboard them though and maintain that information. So yeah, that would be a lot of clicking. I had delegated that. I was not doing a lot, but I would go in and click myself sometimes too. We get behind. I'm like, I'll do some. Give me a list, and I'll go in there and I'll click.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's much better.
always good to do it a couple of times. That way you can say, I'd never ask you to do anything I wouldn't do.
I don't ask my staff to do anything I would do. That's very true. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now that you've got this kind of, not only the thing that was built during the hackathon, but now you're also seeing other opportunities to sort of take that same technology and that same workflow and build it into other areas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really was kind of an eye opener. I don't think we really had ever explored this side of Box all that much, to be honest with you. We really had focused on the collaboration side. We'd focused on the, which was huge for us, and particularly, with the pandemic. We easily shifted all of our staff to remote work because all their content was already in the Box cloud. And so it really wasn't hard for us to do. But we never really looked at kind of like what can we do here to leverage this thing in bigger ways? And so it really was, like I said, for me, it was an eye opener to kind of go, oh, there's things we can do. And there's other places we can use this wrench, to accomplish goals to organization behind the scenes and try to automate some of these things that are manual tasks or some new things, actually. There's some ideas that we had that are kind of like, oh, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. We could do that. We could glue those two things together, and then we could have this really neat little process that just does things for us, and we don't have to bother with it. So yeah, it's been really great.
No, that's very cool. And like I said, I definitely had fun working with you. I definitely identify with the mission that you're trying to accomplish, and I was really happy that we could just spend a few days together, get some really talented developers in, and really hammer in on a problem that is meaningful for you, but it's also a problem that many other customers have. What do you do with the data and the people when they leave your organization? And so, I don't know, let's say we wanted to do a hackathon for good in the future. Any advice for your fellow nonprofits that you'd give them about this process?
Well, so I would say, if you can find the time, definitely do it. Like I said, we got a lot of value out of it, and I appreciate all the teams that participated in the hackathon and put their time and energy into it. It really was great to see. There were some great ideas. There were some ideas in there that didn't necessarily win, but we were like, that's kind of a cool idea. Actually, we should keep that one in the back pocket. They're all great ideas. I think my advice, just you do have to commit the time to it. It was a bigger time commitment than I expected it to be, but I do think I got the value out of it. So if you got to plan for it, got to be intentional about it. But you can get a problem solved, and or at least get started on the way to getting a problem solved. That we would probably still be struggling in this, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for the hackathon folks kind of bootstrapping us in and getting us moving. So yeah, I would say do it. If you got the time and you can devote the focus to it, take advantage of it. It was a great opportunity, and we do really appreciate it.
Very cool. Well, I thank you for your time today, Brian. Always good catching up with you and chatting. Look forward to more of these conversations in the future. So thanks for joining us at the Cloud Content Summit. Really happy that we've got some developer content this year, and really happy you were able to participate with us. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Scott. Great to see you. Take care.
All right. Thank you for joining our session today. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot about the Box CLI. It's a super powerful tool that can really help you automate those repetitive admin tasks. I do want to say thank you also to Olga Stefaniuk. I think she did an amazing job putting together that demo and that content to help you learn more about the Box CLI and even see it in action. And I want to say thank you to Brian Pace from the Nature Conservancy. How do you not love helping and talking to an organization that's really trying to save the planet? It's an amazing mission, and any small part that I can do to help, I'm there for it. With that said, tomorrow during the Community Day at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to have some Box executives talking about some of the cool stuff that Box is doing. But at the end of that session, we're going to have the winners from that hackathon that we talked about, and they're going to come talk about how they use the Box CLI and how they use some of those templates that are available in your admin panel to really build a unique offering tailored highly to the Nature Conservancy's needs, where they're using the Box CLI and solving a real life problem. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see you at the next event. Thank you very much.